Thank you so much for being here with me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I would like for you to introduce yourself to the people, tell them who you are, what you do, and we'll jump into the conversation.
DJ Pretty Boy Tank, uh, DJ, curate the sound for Atlanta.
And one thing that's been consistent is I've always noticed like you share and post things about mental health, whether that be other people or my own.
All right.
So talk to me briefly about number one, why is mental health something that's important to you?
I think it's important because men's mental health, I feel like it gets overlooked a lot. Like as a man, we're taught not, just feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I feel like not show any feelings. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I feel like more men need to actually have avenues to discuss their mental health,
right.
like, cause keeping all that stuff boiled down into you, like it can be a lot.
Dangerous.
It's real dangerous.
For sure. So I hear you saying that the reason why because men's mental health is not always embraced.
Right.
So is that something that you've always felt? Were you raised around, let's say family and friends who nurtured mental health, or is
Mm.
that something that you got into later on in your life?
Me personally, like I feel like my family, we really embrace, you know what I'm saying, talking about what we're going through and things like that. It's seeing like my peers, like
Mm,
other men, you know what I'm saying, them not being able to have anyone to talk to or relate
yeah.
to on that certain level. So that's why I feel like it's really important for men to, just have different types of resources to reach out to and just let that stuff go for real.
For sure. I can appreciate that. And so, with you having been in the music industry for 26 years,
Yes.
again, congratulations.
Thank
Um, I'm sure you've seen a lot though. When you mention peers, and for some reason, when a lot of people hear mental health, it's like that stigma that like you have to have a major disorder or something terrible has to be going on with you
you. All right.
mentally. So much so that people used to make jokes about
All right.
mental health. But in your field and the peers that you have, like, what are indicators to you, or at least in your experience, that people are struggling with their mental health, and how are you seeing them cope, especially the younger people today?
The first question kind of answers the second question. I notice people's coping mechanisms,
Okay.
whether it be alcohol, prescription drugs, or just abusing, you know what I'm saying? Anything like that that's not supposed to be abused. So that's when I notice, like, okay, something's, you know what I'm saying, mentally it's not functioning right up there. Then also the way they deal with other people.
Mm,
So it's like, yeah, it's an underlying issue there that needs to be discussed.
all right.
And like I say, people don't, or men don't, you know what I'm saying, have someone to talk to.
Yeah. So in music, it sounds like primarily you see your peers using like maybe substances to
Oh,
cope. Is that fair?
very much so. We just gonna be blind. They popping
Yeah,
pills.
for sure.
They abusing other opioids and stuff like that. Abusing alcohol. So anything like that, like you do too much of it, it's like, hey, what's going on now? You okay?
Yeah.
So I see that a lot.
Yeah. So with you seeing it a lot and you being pretty, I would say pretty aware of
Mhm.
mental health, what are some of your coping skills?
Uh, for a long time, like, of course, I got good friends, so
Good.
I've always had that support system. But I guess I used to get drowned in the music, so to speak. Like I used to just work nonstop. So I think though that's one of the ways I used to cope with being like, I guess, depressed.
Mm, mm,
Then just I never had a drinking issue, but sometimes I can notice you smoking too much. Like, why you are
yeah.
you nervous? Like, what's going on? Those were the two things I used to do. For a long time, I was in denial. Like, I don't need therapy. Like,
Mm,
like, what you need therapy for? How somebody who's never been through what you've been through gonna tell you how to react to certain things and stuff like that? So I was in denial up until maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
wow.
And I'm a name drop. Shout out to my good friend Alan. She I'm not gonna say pressure me, but she just kept suggesting like, Tank, maybe you should try out therapy. And I used to ignore her and be like, I don't need therapy.
Yeah.
So then like one day the pandemic happened, so you got nothing but time to think.
Yeah.
And I had my ex girlfriend at the time. Shout out to her. She was a big mental health advocate as well. So with got friends, you know what I'm saying maybe you need to try this out with her, you know what I'm saying. I don't think she suggested it, but just seeing how it helped her.
Nice.
And one day out the blue, I just got on the internet, black therapist, and it just went from there. And I've been in therapy for what, 3.5 years now.
That is awesome.
And I've been doing grief therapy for a year.
Wow. And how's that journey been?
It's been real interesting because sometimes I'm placed in like small groups or whatever with other people who've, you know what I'm saying, took very heavy losses, and it brings awareness that there's other people out there and y'all can actually support each other.
Yeah.
And actually my regular therapist, because I still go to her as well, she suggested it, and shout out to her. I'm not gonna name drop her because I want to keep that private. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a good journey. It's been a good journey.
Wow, that makes my heart so warm. Like, I just think it's a beautiful thing because, it's so many things that you said that truly like resonate with what I'm hearing a lot.
Right.
It's just that why do I need to go to somebody to tell me about me?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through.
Right.
And even if I tell you everything that I've been through, like, you're not in my head, you know? And so for you to be open and, have those people that encouraged you, I think that's, number one, I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And number two, just the value in therapy once you go. Right. There's always this misconception, like, a therapist is just going to give you advice.
Exactly.
And I always like to say sometimes advice is self-serving because you're telling people what to do subjectively, based off what you think or your experience.
Exactly.
But a therapist is literally a licensed clinician. You know what I mean? So knowing that it's made such an impact for you, and I think that it's also great that your therapist recommended you grief therapy.
Right.
Because that's like a specialty thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So having a good therapist that's also aware and wanting a betterment for you, not selfish, keeping you all to themselves. Like, they're aware of their limitations or specialties. So
exactly,
that's really nice. And so I'm curious to know, in this walk, since you've been in therapy, I think you said 3 years, what is the biggest thing you've gotten out of your like individual therapy?
More self-awareness.
Okay.
Like, it's brought me, I see myself in third person a lot. So like, it's certain situations that I might be placed into, and while I'm actually involved in the situation, like, I had like a "that's so Raven" moment. Like, I come out of my body and I be like, okay, this how you need to react.
Yeah.
Don't do this, don't do that. So that's one of the good things it's done. Like, just really just helped me realize and brought out of me. Patience. It's taught me a lot of patience. I've always been a patient person. I didn't think I could get even more patient, but just, just being able to count to 10 and just, sometimes, that quick reaction, it ain't worth it.
Right.
So those are really two things that it's just really helped me or made me more self-aware about.
Yeah. So what would you say to, let's say, a Black young man or older man who might be watching and, maybe they kind of grew up set in their ways and they're like anti-therapy? What would you tell them?
I have a lot of friends like that right now. Go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to initially be a therapist.
True.
You need someone who can give you an unbiased opinion about what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because if you know what I'm saying, telling somebody who just gonna tell you anything, that's not gonna be beneficial to you.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you have to be honest with yourself. Like, that's the first thing. Like, therapy will not work if you're not honest with yourself.
That's a fact.
Like, I don't care what stigma, you know what I'm saying, what you got going on in your head, but you got to tell the truth because that's the only way you're gonna be able to get through what you've been through.
Yeah.
And what else would I tell somebody? Just try it out, like just, at least once. Just try therapy out once. Cause for me, like I say, my first therapist, I was like, nah, this ain't it. I probably did 4 sessions with her, and that was over a 2-month time. And then I tried somebody else, and I've been with her for really the majority of the time now. So
yeah,
just keep trying, man. Don't give up.
That's real.
Yeah.
You know, I look at that too, because therapy, although it's technically clinical, but your relationship with your therapist is literally like your professional best friend, like your clinical best friend. And a lot of times people, you know, they may try once, and then if they don't like it, they never go back. And so I know it's maybe petty, but I always say, okay, but do you do that in relationships?
Yeah.
Because you didn't just date one woman or one man and then it's like, okay, I'm done forever.
Exactly.
Like, and this is something that, not to say our relationships don't help us, but this is something that can really like change your mind and your perspective and just kind of make you grow in such a major way. Like, why wouldn't you? Right. You know what I mean? Like, what do you have to lose?
Exactly.
So I really do appreciate it. I had some other questions that I wanted to throw at you before you go.
Yeah, take your time. I got good answers.
I see that. And you're so well versed in mental health. That's really, really awesome. I'm really hopeful too in having you here that there are other people who are encouraged. Right. It's not a square thing. It's not you got to look a certain way to go to therapy or whatever. Like, cool people do it too. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. So that's another reason why I appreciate having you. So what is something that's challenging you at this moment?
Something that's challenging me at this moment. Career elevation.
Okay.
You know, sometimes in our minds we feel like we're supposed to be at a level that, you know what I'm saying, might not be quote unquote God's timing yet.
Ooh, a word.
So I really know that it's, you know, a breakthrough is coming, but, you know, just being patient,
right,
trying to, you know, navigate through all that, it's real challenging. Just, you know what I'm saying, try to keep a level head and just encourage yourself every day, like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. So
right.
That's probably really the only thing, and just devoting more time to me.
I like that.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes I get caught up in trying to take care of everybody else, make sure everybody's straight, that I neglect myself. So I think those are the 2 biggest things right now, just being transparent.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the transparency. Yeah. And as far as the career elevation aspect of what you said, something that I heard, and I don't even know if you realize it or if they realize it, but even though you have those moments where maybe you lack the patience because you want what you want, like, right, you know your potential, you know where you want to be,
right,
but you have positive self-talk at the end of the day.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people, believe it or not, struggle with, like intrusive thoughts, and they don't understand that the way you talk to yourself, like that right there is creating a certain brain chemistry.
Exactly.
So you have to, even though you might feel negative, you might feel down, you got to keep telling yourself, like, I'm gonna get there. If it's meant for me to get there, I'm gonna get there.
Exactly.
And so that positive self-talk in itself is like an intervention or a coping skill. So that's nice.
Is, yeah.
And then as far as the taking care of everybody else, I'm smiling because this is a consistent journey of mine. Putting everybody else before myself.
Right.
And so it's not like a me preaching type of thing. It is so necessary though, because what we don't realize is when we aren't taking the times for ourselves, we might be giving everything we have, but we're really still only giving like 50.
Exactly.
45.
Yeah.
But when we dial back and we are making sure we have that, you know, self-care time, that quiet time, whatever it is that you need, once you come back, now you have more to give.
Exactly.
And you can do more.
Right.
So I'm glad that that's something that you are aware of as a challenge. Like I said, it's one that I share as well. So hopefully you keep at that and just keep that balance.
Appreciate it. Got to.
Because even though you can know everything you know in mental health, myself included, even as a clinician, it's kind of easy to still do what we're used to.
Right.
You know what I mean? We still always have that reminder that we still need to be doing better also.
Exactly.
So I really enjoyed our time. I'm really glad that you came.
Appreciate you.
It means a lot to just have you like support the mission. You always do. I feel like you've always supported everything that I do. So I just want you to know that it really does mean a lot to me.
Appreciate you, man.
It's a lot of wishy-washy people out here.
Right.
But you have been very consistent. So I appreciate it. And so for those of you watching, I would like for DJ Pretty Boy Tank to tell y'all where you can find him. Well, where y'all can find him. And yeah, let the people know what you got going on.
All social media platforms, DJ Pretty Boy Tank. I'm on your radio every Friday night in Atlanta, 96.1 The Beat, ATL. And, you know, any men out there who want to go through, you know, you don't want to be publicly known that you want to go through the mental health journey, just DM me, man. Like, people DM me all the time, so I have no problem with helping anybody.